I'd like to call to order the January 16th, 2019 meeting of the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority. This time I'd like to open up public comment. If you're public comment, come on up. Just give us your name and...
My name is Alan Ashley. I live at Royal Oak Manor. And I hope there's enough for everybody. What I'm passing out is a picture at night from this site looking down Williams towards 7th Street. And what you're going to see is a distinct dividing line from 4th to here and black beyond that. And in that picture where the lights are on 4th Street, that's the Salvation Army. And behind that Salvation Army is a parking lot, unlit. Also, there's a church in that area and a school, kindergarten through 8th, 430 members of Royal Oak Manor, a new Jewish community center being built, also planned some 70-plus condo 6-story building. What we would like to see, and it's very unsafe, and it's even worse in the summertime when the leaves cover the lights. What you see is low-lit lights there from 4th here. Could that possibly be done from 4th all the way to 7th? Those lights are low enough where it won't be any rooms, any people seeing it, but yet it gives protection for people walking. It's black down there, and in the summer it's even worse. Also, I don't have a picture of it, but if any of you are on Main Street and you look at 526, which is at 6th and Main, there's a parking lot 3, 7, and 8. Those are pitch black. Matter of fact, if you stood on the west side of Main Street and looked into the parking lot, you could only see the first row of cars. There are 7 rows of cars in there, and it's pitch black. No lights, no fence, nothing to protect. And now you're going to have Bar Louie open up, which is considered themselves a family bar. Those people, families, are going to be parking in that black area. And I don't know if you want families walk back and forth in black area, but we need some kind of lights and a fence for protection so that residents and guests will be protected. The fence will be that fence can be paid for, and it's a freebie. Mainly because those are going to be bought by developers. You just add the cost of that. You also put in some solar lights. Those come on and off, and the developers pay for those when they pay for the cost of the land. The other reason I'm here is you have the agreement for the Unity Fair. In that agreement, there is nothing in there that states where the Royal Oak Manor patrons who park in P7 are supposed to park, where are the vendors going to park, when do we have to move out, and when can we move back in, and it's just unexplained, and I don't want what happened at Arts Beats and Eats last year happen again to members of Royal Oak Manor, where we thought we'd be able to park around our building. It turns out we can't vendors park. There's nothing in that agreement states when we have to move out, when we can move back in, and where are the vendors going to park, and where is Royal Oak Manor patrons are going to be parked. It does not state it, and I wish it would be put in there for the safety of our members. Thank you.
Seeing no one else present, I'll close public comment, and we'll move on to approval of the meeting minutes from December.
I'll move the minutes. Support.
By Director Krieger, seconded by Director Johnson. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for those vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 4, expense items. I don't think there's anything that needs action on here, but if anybody has any questions for Mr. Twain, or Sean for that matter. Nothing? Nope. Okay. We'll move on to item number 5.
I'm going to recuse myself from this item because our office designed the building that this is pertaining to, so.
Okay, very good.
Well, very basically, the DDA had approved a reimbursement resolution to reimburse up to $18,500 for Streetscape, I'm going to say a rework and along the south side of East 4th Street in front of the property that's 424 East 4th. As part of their development, they needed to do some adjustments. The DDA did support that when the request came. When they finished the work, Mr. Schultz submitted his invoices for the work. The infrastructure committee reviewed those. The engineering department has indicated that all the bonds and work has been completed to city standards. And the infrastructure committee, based on what was submitted, is recommending the DDA to reimburse $17,407.11 to Kinetic Creations. If the board supports that, there is a resolution there for your consideration.
Any questions in regards to this? Not, there is a resolution if someone would like to make a motion.
I'll move to adopt the resolution as presented.
Got a motion by Director Yazbek,
I'll second that.
second by Director London. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, on to number 6, the Unity Fair Festival Agreement.
I would indicate that I have passed out additional documents based on comments received from Mr. Witt and made some of those adjustments. They were minor from the agreement that was posted to the website. Basically, the changing the first line to, rather than own, to create the festival, and that technically he doesn't own, I guess, that festival, and has it in the sense of ownership, so it's a minor adjustment. And then he, in 2 locations, adjusted from a February 1st date to a March 1st date, basically backing up provisions under Section 3 and 4, 1 month. They related to when the DDA would potentially provide the funds, and also his date to potentially pull out and not do it. And then he provided the address for the for his location. So the agreement that I've also attached there, you'll see where those revisions are in red. Other than that, it's the same agreement that was drafted, posted, and distributed. It has been reviewed by the city attorney, and he's comfortable to the form of that document. Again, if you're in support of it, there is a suggested resolution. I would only add that it potentially it hereby approves it as amended.
I have a question. Originally, I thought he was only going to close Center Street. Now he's closing 5th and 6th and Center and 7th.
That's the same map that was provided last month. So I don't think anything's changed from last month.
That's not what he verbally said. Such a shame that we're closing down the city like 4 weekends in a row in the same month. Or 4 festivals.
Basically, the purpose of this agreement, though, is a sponsorship agreement and a funding agreement. As far as how the festival will run, it's subject to the city commission's approved special event permit. So issues of parking and those things should be addressed in that and not part of your funding agreement.
At the city commission level, you're saying?
Yeah, it's attached, the most recent one approved by the police department's attached with what I passed out.
You don't have the reimbursement.
Pardon me?
You don't have the reimbursement. Parking costs.
Yeah, it'll be an actual, as far as the reimbursement numbers go, at the end of it, I'll get a cost recovery form from the police department that'll summarize all the expenses. Basically, you're agreeing to provide, if you proceed as follow-up to your December meeting, you'll provide $17,500 in sponsorship money and up to $17,500 to cover city services and police, fire, DPS, and parking fees. So anything above that would be Mr. Witz's issue.
And just to clarify, we're not increasing any parking rates during this festival, correct?
No, your resolution last time was that they not change. Now, would totally be up to the city commission, but
Not-
that
not
was
paying for
your
the parking lots,
position.
we're just. But just to be clear, we're taking away parking as well. We're not increasing our parking rate, but we're making it difficult for people to park. Taking away the surface lots and then the streets.
Anybody else have any questions? And there's a proposed resolution.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that resolution would be as amended. You can prove it as amended.
Tim, do you know if the commission's going to discuss, some of the seniors who are not going to be able to park in those lots? I know that's not for us, I'm just curious if that,
I believe the special event permit's already gone to the commission and
okay.
and it's been approved, subject to some revisions that they adopted there, and the police department inserted those in the document that I passed out.
Okay. I see that.
So I believe they'll be working through the police department
Got it.
with that special event. I don't believe it's going back to the commission at this point.
I'll make a motion to move move this motion as amended, adopt the motion as amended.
Okay, got a motion to adopt as amended. Do I have a second? Second by Director Yesbeck. Discussion. Questions?
That was my question. I mean, I know
Okay.
we discussed this last time, and I think
Right.
at the time, we were all comfortable with our participation in it, so.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay.
All right. Committee updates. There's no consumer marketing committee meeting, right, this month? Infrastructure, Jason?
So, yeah, so we had a meeting, and going off memory here, we had English Gardens come in, and I think it's time for us to start looking at Christmas lights again. And we didn't really come to any final resolutions, but they had some examples of LED lights that can be color changing, and the thought was to maybe leave them up for, I think it was 2 years, I believe, versus taking them back down. And so there might be a little bit of savings in the labor, taking them up and down, but the lights are more expensive. So ultimately, it was a more expensive endeavor. But we would have this technology up and possibly up year-round. So you can change it. If it's St. Patty's Day, you can make them green. So there's some advantages there. So they're going to come back with some other ideas. We also asked them to look at some other options for the sprays. So, I know you weren't there, Jay, Gary wasn't there. So I think it was just more of some information gathering from them. So we're going to get together with another meeting and hopefully have some more stuff to bring you next time on that. We discussed 424, which was an item here, so you're aware of that. And then there's a letter on our desk here for some bike racks that we talked about. I think there's a grant we'd have to contribute as 50 or 51% if we want to participate. I think we could use it on other things, right, Sean? But we discussed possibly bike racks.
Yeah, you can use it for any sort of infrastructure that's bicycling
related? Okay.
related. So whether it's like bike trails or things like that, I figure bike racks might be
Yeah.
more appropriate in the downtown.
Yeah, and there's kind of a mix of bike racks in downtown and how they're used and everything. So one of the things we talked about is if we were to do this, could we unify it so it looks cohesive? And I don't think we really moved it beyond that discussion, but I know that we were all interested in it. So I think those are the major items that we discussed in that meeting.
Any questions for Jason? Okay. Business Marketing Committee did not meet this month. So let's take us on to the downtown manager report.
So just some of the feedback that I received from our monthly stakeholders meeting. Some of the business owners brought up some concerns about advertising the locations of parking. I did bring up that we just completed a massive wayfinding program that includes all of that signage. They did offer some suggestions, the business owners, which included larger, more visible parking signage higher up on the facades of the parking decks. I know some of the parking decks have something like that. They suggested something that was like that on more of the parking decks. I did ask about the 30-minute parking zones and how they were going over. Moreover, it's still pretty early to tell because they've only been up for about 2 or 3 weeks, but feedback was generally pretty positive. The only thing I received was that we should make them, more visible, and we should get the word out about them more. So I've been talking to staff in the city manager's office to see what we can do just to make people more aware of it. Next, several businesses expressed some interest in offering some kind of discount if a customer came in and presented a parking stub that they parked in the deck. I've talked to about 10 businesses so far that are interested in participating in something throughout the downtown where if a customer presents a stub that day that they parked in a parking deck, that they'd offer something like a 10% discount. So I'm talking to more of them, seeing if I can get more businesses on board, and then I'll take it to the appropriate committee too to see if there'd be any support for discussing, maybe creating some signage or posters or something like that we can put in the decks.
I have a question. It's not for the retailers or whatever establishment to pay for the parking, it's to give them a discount for shopping? I thought you showed the stub and then retail or whatever, whoever you presented to would pay for the parking. You're saying the establishment will give a discount.
Yeah, they wouldn't validate it or anything. They would give some sort of discount on their purchase or something like that.
This
So
started with Drew Sierra from Lockhart's and the brewery. And his idea is that they would pay for the parking by discounting their bill. That way, there was no record keeping that had to go back and forth between the restaurants and the city. It was all up to the restaurant to provide the discount that they wanted to provide.
I gotcha.
yeah, it was requested that I
All
ask
he
the
asked from
business
us
owners
was to help promote it.
a few months ago, and so I brought it up at a stakeholders meeting a few months ago. There didn't really seem to be much interest in doing anything like that. So we kind of dropped it for a while. It was brought back up at the most recent meeting, and this time it kind of caught on. There were some businesses that were interested, so I circulated some emails to see if we could get some more. So,
I understand.
yeah, I'll bring that up to the appropriate committee, and if there's interest, we can look at moving forward with that. There was also some interest in participating in some downtown co-marketing opportunities. I know the new Hyatt has been asking me for promotional materials that they can have in their lobby to show where people can shop, where they can eat, so on and so forth. So that was actually a major topic of discussion at the last stakeholders meeting. So I'll take that probably to the Consumer Marketing Committee to see if there's any interest in moving forward with that as well. Just to give a general update on implementation of the new advertising program, 696 is now open, and so we've secured billboards through the beginning of February with some of those ads. So I think it's 3 different locations on 696 that'll be running continuously up through Valentine's Day. So those are up and running as of this morning. In addition, this month we'll have 1 radio ad running on the ticket, 97.1. January is kind of a slow month anyway, so we decided to go with something kind of small and basic and then move forward from there. Main Street program, just a couple of things. Main Street Awards.
Before we go on.
Sure.
You were working on looking at running the factory ads on social media targeting the east side?
Yes. Yeah, I think I included that in my report too. Yep, we can narrow it down to zip code. And I spoke to our media buyer about running social media ads in those zip codes. I looked up to see which communities in Macomb County along the 696 corridor most follow the Downtown Royal Oak Facebook page. So I took those communities, got their zip codes, got them to our media buyer so that she can zero in with those ads. So that'll be taking place actually as we speak, because we were just invoiced for the cost of that. So.
The thought here is with 696 finally being open again, that we want to get East Siders used to coming back to Royal Oak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, they're forging new habits now that they're going back to 696, so now's a good time to be advertising to them. Just a couple Main Street things. I circulated to the board, or at least a committee, the awards catalog for the upcoming Main Street Awards. That's going to be May 9th. We can submit nominations for awards from Royal Oak. I think there's a lot that we could qualify for. So I also took it to the stakeholders meeting and circulated some applications if there's any nominations that come from the business owners themselves. So we have until April 1st to submit for awards for any of those. I think there's 12 categories. We have our annual Main Street evaluation for February 12th. Main Street's going to be bringing a neutral party from outside of Oakland County to come in and kind of evaluate our progress and everything too. So they'll be coming to visit us here and just going over a lot of the progress that we've made in the past year. And 2019 technical assistance funding is now open, so I know that we used the last time for the alleyway master plan, so that's going to be available again. Actually, it's available now, so if there's any other suggestions for future technical assistance funding, that's available. And then lastly, I just received word today that Main Street wants to do a training for Main Street managers for South Oakland County, and they asked to see if we could do it in Royal Oak. So they said that they would cover any costs or whatnot, so they could either do it here at City Hall or we could find a savvier venue somewhere in downtown.
Yeah, somewhere downtown.
Yeah, I thought
Absolutely,
there's no shortage of places that could be.
When is that likely to be?
That'll be February 8th, and that'll be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Sean?
You mentioned the Hyatt. I think members might be interested to know that the Hyatt is most likely going to be putting in a conference center rather than a restaurant.
How many square foot is that space?
I'm not sure how big that space is.
One on the south end. I'm not positive either. I can send out the.
Big.
That's
Yeah,
good
it's
news
not
for our
small.
restaurants.
What's that?
That's good news for our restaurants.
Yeah.
It's good news if you want to have a,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sean, do you need a resolution for this letter of intent? Any money for Friday's submission? Does it require you to have the match now, or is it gonna come back?
No, we
later?
just have to submit the letter of intent. The application comes at a later date, so I think maybe authorize.
You don't need us to vote on this, do you, or?
I don't think so. I think we just have to submit just our letter of intent at first, and then we commit to it, and
Vote on the money?
then we vote on the money when we find out how much it'll be.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Anything else? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Director Krieger.
I second that.
Second by Director London. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
Shortest meeting ever.